Kia ora, this is part 2 of the very long video on the vectors question that I had in this year's school exam. So where I got to in the last video was that we had got all the way through and just about finished. So we had found where the perpendicular from P meets line M. So it meets it at point Q. And now the last little bit that I've got to do is to figure out the position vector of R. So let's just draw a picture of what's going on again. So here's my line. This is M. And this is point P here. Now we've figured out where we know where P is, we knew that to start with. And we've now got where Q is, but we know now that we've got to figure out where's point R, right? So if this distance is 2, then this distance is 3. So we have vector OQ, we had OQ at the very end of the last video. So the position vector for Q was, what did we have? Let me just find my notes. OQ was -1, 5, 2, right? So that gets me to here. And we know that we've got PQ. And so the distance from P to Q, or the vector from P to Q, which is not the same as the distance from P to Q. So this was the vector from P to Q. Now, I don't ever actually have to work out how long that line is. All I've got to do is to say that, well, from here to here gets me from P to Q, and I need to keep going along in the same direction, but I need to go a bit further. So from Q to R, is going to be 1.5 times, or 3/2 times that vector from P to Q. Right? And I think if you don't draw this and visualize it, I think it's quite hard to see that. But it's pretty easy once you've done that. We get -7.5, -3, and 6, right? So I'm just taking each of these components and I'm timesing them by 1.5. What we've got to do now to get out to position vector for R is we go to Q and then we just add on that distance there, right? So the position vector finally, O to R, is going to be from O to Q, which we've got, plus from Q to R. And that gives me, what have we got for OQ? We've got -1, 5, 2, plus -7.5, -3, 6, -8.5, 5 minus 3 is 2, and 2 plus 6 is 8. So there you go. Look, I think that's quite a hard vectors question because there's not that much they can really ask us about vectors anymore because we don't do all of the cool stuff with planes. And no, I am not teaching you all the stuff with planes before the exam because we've got better things to focus on. But the plane stuff being in there meant that there were lots of different skills that could be examined. And now really what we're pretty much guaranteed to have in a problem in A-level vectors is stuff about the scalar product, right? The angle between two lines, because that's about as far as we can go with the idea of a line. So the angle between two lines, the distance from a point to a line, and so on. Keep on sending in the vectors problems and I will keep on videoing them.